So downtown San Angelo didn't just happen overnight. In fact, if you think about downtown San Angelo, it happened way back during the days of the early Fort Concho, the Fort Concho cavalry coming across to support our downtown area. So there's a long-standing history and there's a long-standing evolution of what's happened in our downtown area. We started to see that the buildings in downtown San Angelo were not really in the best condition and didn't present a beautiful image of who our town was. So back in the 70s, the city supposedly was wanting to tear down a lot of those old buildings. My husband, as well as several other individuals from the early days of running businesses here, decided that they needed to invest in downtown San Angelo. And so they started to buy up buildings, of which Miss Hattie's is one of them. But there were a total of 12 buildings, which became a part of the original revitalization of our historic downtown area. Those buildings are still standing today, and many of them are registered on the state and the national level, of which Miss Hattie's was one of those buildings. So we remodeled again this building and opened up Miss Hattie's restaurant, which was a tie into Miss Hattie's Bordello Museum, which Kenneth had also redone. So even in the year 2000, there really weren't any new businesses happening in downtown. There were two businesses that really helped drive that. And one was certainly the Dead Horse, which Rick Rogers created that idea. And then there was Johnny Castillo, who did Fat Boss's Pub. So those new businesses added even more life, because until then, 2006, there were only 3 businesses that were open after the hour of 5 o'clock. It was Miss Hattie's restaurant, it was Fuente's restaurant, and then Brady's Pub. The revitalization of downtown didn't happen just with downtown's Main Street support, but it happened because people saw an opportunity to bring great ideas, new ideas to our downtown area. And they had these ideas because they had visited other cities like Austin and Dallas, Fort Worth, and seen what their historic districts look like. What we have today is a combination of many, many people. No single person is responsible for our downtown area's growth and revitalization. It's accumulation of many people's ideas, effort, and investment in terms of dollars. What we see today is just really the beginning of what we can become and will become ultimately. Because every year, just when we think there is not going to be another new idea, something new happens. And every new idea generates more interest. And so I'm excited to see the evolution of where we were, where we're at, and where we're going. The Streetscape program is going to be, and has been, the key catalyst to, in fact, making people want to relook at downtown. The amount of comments that we get from people visiting San Angelo is so interesting, because they all see that we, the city, believe in our downtown area. And the Streetscape investment is a key part of seeing that we're going to reinvest in something that's called our history. It's, if you will, the living room of San Angelo, Texas. If you will, it's the heart of San Angelo, Texas. And we need to keep it alive. And all of the interest, the investment, and the support of downtown San Angelo has made this vision come to life. And so we want to thank everyone who's been a partner, who's believed, and who is invested in this downtown area. It could not be what it is today without multitudes of people believing, number one, in the reinvestment, but number two, most importantly, is the support of people patronizing these businesses. And we need to continue to have that happen. We cannot continue to be successful if we don't have new things happening, reinvestment happening. And it's so important relative to the overall big vision of downtown San Angelo. I moved here really at the beginning of 1999 and had a lot of interest in downtown, primarily because my husband had been so invested in the downtown. So I became a part of our Main Street organization and originally took up the responsibility of promotions. And it is through that promotional effort that we really have the interest and the support of the community. And interest in seeing what downtown does. I introduced the idea of our fiberglass sheep, of which many people thought it was not going to be a good thing. But people had begged me to bring back the Miss Wool contest, which we knew we couldn't do. We knew it could not be supported by television, which is what made it so important and so successful in the old days. So we came up with this fiberglass sheep project, which basically each fiberglass sheep is representative of a Miss Wool contestant. And initially, we thought maybe we could sell 10 sheep. Well, within the first 2 or 3 months, we'd sold over 30. And that developed into now what is over 100 sheep. But it was those first 10 that were the catalyst of downtown investing in the sheep project. And then the community going, I want one too. I want one in front of my business. I want. And what made it so successful was also that San Angelo has this unbelievable, talented, artistic community. This program really drew a lot of interest in terms of downtown. The history of Miss Hattie's is twofold. One, Miss Hattie's Bordello Museum, which my husband redid, was a legendary bordello, which was not shut down until the mid to late 50s. At that point in time, the Rangers shut it down, and it no longer served as the same purpose as it used to be served at. But we love the idea of the Miss Hattie's Bordello Museum and then a Miss Hattie's restaurant. So the theme and the idea of Miss Hattie's carried on between those two, and it's still a big attraction to people who are visiting the city. And we're proud of the heritage, and we're so proud of what Miss Hattie's has become a staple in our downtown area, which was another thing that we wanted to make sure happens. As a mall where you have key foundation businesses such as JCPenney's or Sears or Dillard's, they were the stabling factor of the mall, as Miss Hattie's has been a stabling factor here in our downtown area, just as Edmeyer's has, just as J. Willie's has, just as Sassy Fox has. We needed those anchor tenants, if you will. And these anchor tenants have really stabilized the turnover in our downtown area, which gives credibility to our downtown area in terms of other people looking at our area, historic downtown, as a place to open up a business. Fuentes has been a stabilizing factor, and Myers Drug has been as well. So there's some great names, some great families who continue to invest in our downtown area and are an important part of keeping our downtown area so successful. What will make San Angelo continue to grow and develop is a broad mix, and that's what I'm talking about. Retail, bars, restaurants, wine bars, art galleries. Shopping is key because shopping generates more retail dollars. And our river is one of the greatest assets. People who visit from other cities always say, what would it take to make a river through our downtown area? Because they know it's the perfect sidekick, if you will, to our downtown area. So we want to see continued growth in a hotel downtown. We want to see continued growth in terms of downtown living. And that also will help support the businesses in our downtown area.